O'Shea's Drugs, and it was built 2 years prior to the White House across the street. Now, supposedly the sister-in-law already had the plans, but we're not sure. But notice that has 4 columns and this one has 6. So the sister built a bigger house. That is white brick, it's not tile. Red brick, white brick. And again, the brother of the O'Shea, he not only owned City Drugs, but he owned Jack's Saloon. I'm kind of sure that's where I got my name. But both of them, you got beer at drugstores. So back in the day, they would actually have beer stands set up in their front yard to sell for people going out into the country and coming back. Just a little addition. Over here on the left side of the bus is it's owned by the Staffords now. It's a central Tuscan style atrium, a turret entry, and detached garage. It was built for P.A. Gillum in 1926. He owned the Coca-Cola Company. Some scandal happened when the wife of the Dr. Pepper franchise, and he went on a trip. Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper went on a trip. Her father-in-law called her a sport. Pardon me. S-P-O-R-T. Hey, sport. How you doing? She sued him. That was a naughty word back in those days. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, and he won. So she's a sport. Okay, we can. I like those stories better than the balustrades. We're going to be taking a right, and the first large white house you see is the old Zimmerman house. There's a Zimmerman, Louisiana. There's a Bentley, Louisiana. It was lumber, okay? And what happened is Louisiana had virgin forests from Arkansas down to the Gulf of Mexico. And they needed all the lumber in the Northeast. In fact, there was a Brewer Lumber Company down near Zimmerman. By your store. Right. David's ancestors had a lumber company also. This was lumber. It would have been nice if it would have been oil, but it was lumber. And they got all the lumber to build America, well, a lot of America, from here in Louisiana. And I have a nice follow-up to that in just a minute. This next house we're going to see, I was called and given some information by Miss Swallow. She's married to a guy named Gitter, but their name is Swallow Gitter. They have a couple of kids. This 2-story brick Italian Renaissance, they did replace the tile with regular shingles. You can see on the top 2nd-story windows how the windows... Oh, yeah. Could we let these people on? Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. You're ready, huh? A little bit. We only have 3 more bars. We're going to have it. But the windows are antique windows upstairs. You can see the wavy glass. And downstairs, I guess, more modern glass. It was built for the Wadley family in 1931, and he was Secretary-Treasurer of Alexandria Lumber Land Company. For many years, Dr. Palmer Tejada had it, raised a couple of kids, and one of his daughters was married in the backyard with a large reception. One of the cute stories is that Dr. Tejada liked to raise ducks, and every rain they would get out here, and they'd have to send the kids in the storm drains to rescue the ducks. So, that's where Sarah lives. And that's where Sarah lives. That's where you would live if you were Sarah. And actually, her mother was on the bus earlier, and we pointed out her house. stories and added some of the sidings, the side rooms. In 1935, Turrentine Heating and Air conditioned and heated this home. Home air conditioning was actually started in the 20s. By 1935, they had window units for apartments. But if you had a lumber company and lived in Louisiana in 1935, you'd probably order an air conditioner also. They also had a boiler for radiator heat. And then Richard and Jan lived there. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Are we going past the stop sign?
Yes, no, we're taking a right.
Can I get on? I'll let
Yes. Oh, can you wait a second and let her on?
Thank you.
3 kids, 2 dogs. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. We're not getting on yet.
But I have a question in general.
Jack?
Some of the houses, they have like, it looks like a little fence on top of the roof. We just passed one. It looks like a fence on the floor, but it's actually on top of the roof.
Why would they have a fence on top of the roof?
It looks like it. Just sleep out there. Because there is no door, nor a window to get out, and I think, to me, that would be strange. But
You mean maybe they had a porch up there one time?
No, that's
I
like
don't
where
know.
you would find the barrister on the house with red
it
brick.
looks like,
That little roof, you were talking about the little fence on top. You can't walk out it from the roof.
right, but it's a high, it looks like a little fence.
I think it was a decoration to show off their
They got more
class.
It's a lumber company.
Yeah, they had a lumber company. Everybody needs a roof.
A lot of lumber companies. Right?
Also, the Crolls closed down their lumber mill in Forest Hill, and you can go there today with everything left intact, the Southern Forest Heritage Museum. I'm going to talk quickly about these next 2 houses because it's a dangerous turn here, and Wayne's used to it. But on the left, I'll talk quickly. This brick Mediterranean raised basement home, there are very few of them here with a raised basement. It was built in 1931 for Henry Simon and his wife Rose, who owned Simon Brothers Clothing Company, a predecessor of Welland's department store. We grew up with Welland's. They had 3 daughters. At one time, the home was owned by Grace Finn, who taught dance classes in the basement. And I'd walk by this. I walked by for 8 years going, well, actually it took me about 12 years to get out of elementary school. But I'd walk by here and see these houses. This is how I walked to school for 8 years. And I remember the Kroll home was empty for 16 years until Richard and Jan moved there and redid it and fixed it up. But it was just empty. Okay, so that the next house we're going to see, we can go ahead to the next intersection. Take a right. It's the big green home currently owned by the Waspers. There's some CPAs and apartments. You have to look kind of candy corner up there. The big green home. And those apartments, they think they were built during World War II also. A lot of the neighborhood around here had apartments for the influx of all of the military during World War II, the Louisiana maneuvers. Anyway, it's a stucco colonial revival, and some generals stayed there during the Louisiana maneuvers. You can go ahead. That's good enough for me. The Alexanders also lived there, of Alexander and Bolton, and they had 3 daughters. Cora and Cynthia were twins, and Frances. Coming up on the left, you will see the white bricked home. This is one of the few examples of Tudor architecture in the Alexandria Garden District. The complex roof line features various heights and 2 prominent, steeply pitched gables, another hallmark of the Tudor revival style. This home is currently owned by the Diocese of Alexandria. It was originally constructed. Yeah, go ahead and turn. constructed for Dr. Gremion in the 40s. And then the Coughlin family. He was the president and chief executive officer of Cleco for 30 years. And you know Coughlin Saunders downtown, the place.
Performing Arts Center.
What is it? Performing Arts Place. Okay. Listen, I can forget my name right now. All right, the next town. Oh, and by the way, the Catholic bishop is in the hospital right now. It's not doing too well. All right, now this is this massing of a large two-story stucco Canadian Italian villa consists of tile hip roofs front and back. This was the home of Mary and David Boyle. She was the art teacher in Bolton for about 35 years. I knew her, and one of her son is an art critic, and I think her daughter plays violin professionally. It was built in 1920 for Walter and Betty Hill. He was the president of Hill Harris. He was also president of Adams Brick, Yellowcaya. Everybody's leaving. This is... Thank you for staying. I'm doing reverse tipping. If you stay, you get $1. Okay. They were the Gatsbys of the Alexandria. They had cars with speaking tubes, chauffeurs, and if you go in their front door to the left, was a huge bank vault for their money. It is now a wet bar. It's no longer a bank vault. Now, one of the neat things about this house, it was later the Blake House. There's a woman named Violet Blake that lived there. Her father was the father of reforestation that changed Louisiana. Remember, all of the companies came down and deforested. It was just plains. There weren't any trees. And this guy said, why don't we plant more trees? And that's what we do now. So Louisiana is very, very prolific at lumber companies and growing lumber like corn. Yeah, I made a lot of that up. I don't know exactly